Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are into Love Island series 11 and we are now on episode 31. It is the episode after the film festival, the full on aftermath. My people, all I'm saying is someone better come for our Mimi, man. Someone that is bigger, better, and can treat her better than Ayo ever wish he could. That's all I must say at this point, yeah. I said, Uma needs to leave her dead weight behind when it comes to Will. But we all know she's not going to do that. We know this because Uma is in too deep with Will. And it's going to be for Will to grovel as much as he damn well can, yeah. As much as he can, to get her back and back in her good graces. And in the event of Matilda, she needs a damn man, not a damn Candy Crush. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. We know tonight we see two new bombshells called Reuben and Josh, and let's just say they were good. They were good. Anyway, so you see that Jessica's hugging up on Ayo. This is after the aftermath. Mimi leaves the area completely because she's still stunned at what she was able to watch with how Ayo was carrying on with himself behind her back. Joe is basically talking about what happened in regards to Ellie and Trey being kicked out, like completely dumped off the island. And this is what I'm saying. Them lot need to realise is they don't hold the power. Do you know what I mean? We, the public, hold the power when it comes to them either staying or going in that place. And then the only times they will kind of hold the power is when bombshells come in and pick who they want to couple off with. And if there's a person left single, they're going to leave, they're going to be kicked out. That's how it is. So all of the boys are hella shocked at that text that came in, and I was like, yeah, because all of you don't seem to realise it could be any one of yous. It could be any one of yours, because guaranteed, besides Ellie and Trey who got dumped, I reckon Jess might have been a close second, to be fair, because Jess and her mouth ain't got no chill and she needs to calm that shit down, to be fair, like seriously. So Will's talking about how he's behaved over the past couple of days with Sean, and Will is sitting there saying how he feels so strongly about Uma. And I'm like, if you felt so strongly about her, I understand that, you know, to test his strength and his resolve. I understand Will may have been going down that avenue in regards to that, yeah, in terms of saying, am I really feeling this much depth of emotion for this person, or is it just because they're the first person that I gravitated towards when I went in there? Bearing in mind, he went in there for Uma, so that should have told him from there. He didn't really have to go as far as kissing the gal up and saying the certain things that he did do in order to test his connection that he had with Uma, because straight away, as soon as he started chatting to that girl, yeah, if his connection was so strong with Uma, he wouldn't have had to do anything else. He would have said, you know what, that's it. I can't go anywhere else with this because the person that I do want ain't here. And this kind of situation has just like solidified that fact for me. He didn't have to go so far as to kiss the gal up and do what he did with her. So he's basically how Will dealt with the aftermath of that. He needed to be less arrogant. He needed to be less disrespectful towards Uma. He needed to show her grace. He needed to show her that he validated her feelings, that he understood where she was coming from. But it was just a total blockade for him, total unwillingness, because he ended up being so rash, defensive, that he was rude as hell to her. So he needed to be careful that he was on a fast track to losing Uma anyway, or he may have already have lost Uma, but yeah, I don't think he already did in that point. But anyway, so Hugo's sitting there listening to Sean and Will go on, and literally his face just looked as though, like, how are yous acting so surprised? Basically, how are yous acting like, you know, you didn't do the shit that you did, and this is why your girls are going off half-cocked in the way that they're going off half-cocked, you know what I mean? Basically, I'm surprised they're left with any damn woman, to be fair. So Sean is saying that he thinks things will get back on track with Matilda. I said, well, you got to put that work in. It ain't just about being a cheeky chappy, my friend. You got to put that work in with her. So, of course, Joey is doing his little bravado act that he does with Blade. And at this point, I kind of think, you know what? Joey is kind of proving Blade's point, to be fair. But on the flip side, I will say with Joey, which I have seen and I've mentioned it before, that he watches. Joey ain't stupid. He watches what goes on around him, yeah, and he manages to ask certain types of questions, and that will come up very clearly as to why I say Joey is not stupid. But the thing about Joey is in my eyes too much. He likes to square up to me. That could literally give him one side swipe across the room and shut his mouth for him. Like he squared up against Omar, he squared up against Connor, and now he's squaring up against Blade. What I think Joey has a bit of a Napoleon complex, you know what, short man complex going on right there, because I don't know what it is with Joe wanting to square up to these type of men, but hey ho, there he goes. So Uma and Matilda are talking, and Uma is basically fully upset and she's calling herself all kinds of idiot, and I'm kind of like, well, no, she shouldn't do that at the end of the day, because it's Will who's managed to pull the wool over her eyes. She did not have no inkling, because don't forget, Will's behaviours didn't show that this is what he was doing under the surface, like from when he spoke to Matilda, from when he spoke to Jessie, all the way through to Lucy. He didn't show those behaviours to Uma, so she can't call herself an idiot because she didn't see it coming. At the end of the day, it was a smack bang surprise for her. The only reason why we saw it coming is because, you know what, the cameras everywhere and they're showing us this shit. They don't know what's going on in there and to what it is that we're seeing at the end of the day. There was no reason for Uma to distrust Will in any type of way when she went to Casa. No reason at all. Matilda is talking to Mimi about Ao and basically saying they all know what Ao's type is, because Ao's always saying, oh, I don't have a type. Yes, you do, my friend. You do. Let's put it this way. Ao don't like the dark skinned beauties like Mimi, yeah. He likes the beauties, the lighter skinned beauties like Uma and Jessica, and it's quite telling that he picked Jessica, who's kind of like akin to Uma in that sense. But yeah, he does. Ao does have a type. So Mimi is basically saying that he shouldn't say that he doesn't have a type when clearly he does, and he shouldn't say that Mimi is his type when clearly Mimi is not his type at all in the slightest. Uma did say it was upsetting, and she did start to cry in regards to listening to what Will's perfect type was. I don't think that that is Will's perfect type. It's the type that he normally gravitates toward, but I think there was something about Uma that made him stand up and take attention of whom Uma was, and he wanted a piece of that, and he doesn't want to let go of that, to be honest with you. So if it was a case of he would go to his true and tested, which would have been Lucy, he would have chucked Uma off, to be fair, and picked Lucy at recoupling, but he didn't, because he knew in his raw soul that he wanted Uma, that he had that connection with Uma. It's him who made the mistake of questioning that connection, because Uma didn't make no mistake whatsoever. So Jess is talking to Will, and she's talking to some of the lads, and basically saying to Will that, you know what, he needs to like have those conversations with Uma, and at the end of the day, this is what you did. But then Will starts laughing and says, I don't need to change the way I act. And then as Will's laughing with that, Jesse's laughing as well. And I'm thinking, what are you laughing at? Because yes, you do need to change the way that you act, because the way in which you acted was gross and disrespectful, and it was the quickest way to lose the woman that you actually said you wanted. So yeah, I don't know what they found so funny with that, but hey ho, Jess, and I will say on the flip side, Jess is going down in my estimations. Like, I like that girl when the program first started, but from then to now, yeah, that post has moved. Let's just put it that way. So Jess is trying to get Sean and Will to talk to Uma and Matilda. At that point, when it came to Will and Uma, because she was so upset, I would have bided my time if I was Will, but you know what, he beat the bully, and him and Matilda went over to go speak to the girls to see if they could get them to talk. Matilda's saying, Matilda said no. She said no, she don't want to talk to Sean. My man said, why? I thought, really, Sean? You don't know why Matilda didn't want to speak to you at that point? Because the thing of it is, every time she's tried to speak to you, Sean has literally tried to throw in this freaking 2 conversations that she'd had with Hugo, and the one that the one he's seen on the screen with Jake saying what he said. So basically, Sean is basically saying that he wants to squash it. And I'm like, so, okay. Matilda can't be upset. Matilda can't be feeling a certain way because Sean wants to squash it. So whatever Sean says, Matilda needs to listen to. So at the end of the day, they did manage to get the girls to come off and go speak to them. All I thought was, with Uma and Matilda, that I swear if they make it so easy for these guys to take them back with sweet talk, yeah, I would have not been happy. Because at this point, it's all about the action. It ain't about what your mouth can give me. It's about your freaking action at this point, yeah? And that's what I needed to see in regards to Will and Sean, because both of them acted like royal dumbasses towards both the women that they said that they wanted. Because now they're chasing the girls' tails across the Ross Villa, yeah, to try and make things right. Sean is there trying to blot this reason that if it wasn't for Hugo shutting shit down, Hugo didn't shut nothing down. Everybody who watched that knew that Hugo didn't shut nothing down. Hugo was being a proper flirt bag with Matilda, yeah? Hugo didn't shut it down. It was Matilda that stepped away from that situation. She wanted to actually have a conversation with him to see if there was anything there. There was nothing there for Matilda. So Matilda said she wanted to be with Sean. That's all there was to it, yeah? So all I'm going to keep saying is Sean needs to stop deviating from his faux pas and actually put his hands up and say, you know what, I did wrong. That's what he needs to do. Stop literally trying to throw that shit back in Matilda's face, because Matilda didn't do nothing. So Uma and Will decide to have a talk, and Will is deciding to let Uma talk it out. So Uma's basically saying that she feels embarrassed and she feels like an idiot. And he goes, my guy goes, why? My guy goes, why? I don't understand why Will is asking why. Why do you think she feels embarrassed and feels like an idiot? So basically, Uma had to explain it to him about the stuff that he did that was hurtful to her. And I was kind of like, here he goes with his defensive condescending tone, because this is what he does each time he doesn't want to hear something bad about himself. So he goes, like what? And I was like, my guy, what do you mean like what? What do you mean like what? If I was Uma, I wouldn't have even given that a freaking answer. My answer would have been, you work that out for yourself, and when you have, you come back to me, because you are not showing me any ounce of you taking any responsibility for the shit that you made me go through and how it hurt me, is what I would have been saying to Will. So I would have said, reflect on it, mull it over, then come back to me, because I am not going to keep explaining the reasons why you hurt me. Because Will is a listen to respond type of guy. That's what he is. That's all he was doing at that point. He was just listening to what Uma was doing to respond, rather than taking a beat and actually listening to her to then validate how she was feeling and seeing how he could make it right. This man really then tried to tell Uma that what we saw on the screen and what they showed on the screen, Uma didn't see. He was trying to say that he was not having no flirty conversations with Lucy. I was like, my guy, you is a joke for real. I was just like, someone tell me where the punchline is. When is Will going to stop and take action and take responsibility? But all of then, I still didn't know why Uma kept entertaining his stupidness. Because within that conversation, he's there saying with his chest, I'm sorry for the way you feel. That's what Will's saying to Uma. I'm sorry for the way you feel. You made her feel that way, my guy. Jesus. So we see Will trying to make good. Yeah, so he comes through with his coffee for Uma. Uma just says thank you. He rubs her shoulder and he walks off. You see Blade and Grace talking on the sunbeds, and she's making comments about Joey, about what Joey said was unnecessary. And I'm just like, Blade really don't want to hear your bullshit, because I think sometimes Grace just protests too much and she just likes the drama of things and keeps going over and over. So basically she's trying to say that she is not bitter towards Joey in any shape or form. I believe that she is, yeah, and I believe that she's also a very sneaky character in my books at the end of the day. Joey decides to pull Grace for a chat because I have a feeling that not far behind her, Joey could probably overhear what the hell Grace was saying, because her voice ain't quiet and it carries, your voice is carrying that place. So they go and have a chat. Joey's telling Grace about how he does still care about her and doesn't want her to be upset, but wants her to be happy. So she's basically saying the same things, that, you know what, she's not bitter about his situation with Jesse at the end of the day. Basically, she just wants him to be happy too. And basically, Grace is saying that she is genuinely happy for Joey and Jesse. And she was open basically for Joey getting to know Jesse. And then she does go back on to the kissing issue of the situation and the things that he'd said to her within that time. They're agreeing to disagreeing on that point, because Joey's still saying, no, it didn't happen in the way Grace saw it, even though we all saw the same thing all over that same day, what Joey was doing. But hey ho, he don't see it. So basically, Joey believes that he moved in the right way when it came to the situation between Grace and Jesse. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And I've come to the point where Joey does not accept any responsibility at all when it comes to that. So basically, Grace and him decided they're just going to be friends. And Joey goes, good, that's what I want to hear. Now they're both smiling at each other. And I have a feeling that things are not completely finished between them two. I don't know if Joey or Grace will be waiting for an opening for either one of them, in my humble opinion. But yeah, it's not completely cahoot to boots with them two. So Will grabs Uma and basically apologizes again to Uma for last night. Will is trying to right those wrongs, but I'm thinking, is it a little bit too late? But we'll see on that one. Will basically said, in my defense, Uma was encouraging him to speak to Jesse. And this is the issue that I have. I'm like, yeah, because you need to get to know the new people that come in, just to make true on the fact, to see whether the connection that you have with the person that you connected with really well is computing the same with someone else, or more so than someone else. So Uma's not going to stand in your way for you to go and have those chats with other people. What she doesn't like is Will being sneaky beaky behind that, like telling Jesse about how things may be changing between him and Uma, and then whispering in Uma's ear that same night when Jesse had to pick about, oh, she might pick me. Why would she pick you if you didn't give her a reason to? And then the bullshit that he did with Lucy, that's what it means. That's what Uma's trying to get at. But again, Will's not seeing the wood through the trees at the end of the day. All I kept on thinking is he needs to stop placing blame on Uma and accept responsibilities for his own damn actions. Because even though Uma opened you up and said, you know what, go speak to other people, she didn't mean put your tongue down their arse throat at the end of the day. So Uma was under the impression that they were saying kind of the right thing with each other, and how she was being open to how he was being open was meant differently by both of them. So all I'm going to say is it boiled down to respect at the end of the day. Will didn't show Uma that at all. It also boils down to the fact that these people don't know how to communicate with each other, because the first thing you would have done, if you are feeling that strong of a connection to the person that you are coupled off with, knowing that Casa Amor is coming or certain other situations might occur, yeah, you have those conversations with that person in regards to your remits, in regards to your boundaries, in regards to expectations and what you expect each other to be in that situation. So then if that person breaks it, you know they were never about you in the first place. If you don't have those conversations, you don't set those expectations and boundaries, don't best believe if it breaks you, really technically, yeah, it might piss you the hell off, but you don't really have that much of a leg to stand on. Do you know what I mean? You didn't set down your limits in that sense, and that's what Uma should have done with Will. Set down her limits in terms of what it means to her, that although we are open, this is what it means to me while I am with you. None of them have done it. None of them. So you see Connor and Emma having a chat. Now remember when I said, when the Casa Amor girls were in, that I did not believe that Emma liked Connor, and I still don't believe that Emma liked Connor that way. But I think Connor has now picked up on the little things that Emma is not doing and wants to know why. So he does it in a roundabout way. So Connor keeps on mentioning the fact that maybe I'm overthinking this, but da 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 da. And I'm like, mate, you're not overthinking it. So Connor is basically trying to get Emma to open up about her feelings towards him so he then can move accordingly. But she doesn't. She uses that same old adage, that same old excuse. I'm a slow burner, which normally means the feelings ain't there, but she ain't gonna come out and say it, which is bullshit at the end of the day. Because my thing is, Connor is a really nice guy, and he's quite an open person. And if you want to say things to him, he will take it, and he will take it well at the end of the day. And Emma could have had that conversation with him, but no, she decided not to. So you see, Sean speaking to Matilda, and he wants to put Matilda in a good mood. So Matilda did say that she did miss not being in the bed with Sean, and Sean's basically missing not being able to talk to her throughout the day because they didn't really speak to each other. Sean is trying to say to Matilda that none of the connections that he made with Diamante or with Ruby compared to what he had with Matilda. Sean's stance was he really hadn't done anything, and then he starts giggling. I'm like, yeah, Sean's too cute. Yeah, he's too cute with it, and Matilda's gonna forgive him straight away, and she does. She ends up hugging Sean anyway because she just wants to be over it. So both lads are saying that they see the error of their ways. We'll see if it keeps up. And then, lo and behold, the text comes in. Everybody be shitting themselves because it's PTSD time for these people. Each time when a text comes in, even me, I'm like at the screen, what the fuck? What's going to happen next? What are we gonna be prepared for? And then it's a text from Mimi, Jessie, and Uma. Reuben and Josh are waiting to take them out for drinks. Don't know bombshells. Everybody's like, 2 guys. Oh, Will's basically said he doesn't care. He does because, to be fair, and I must say it now, Reuben and Josh only had 2 people in mind when they were coming into that villa. It was Uma and for Reuben, and it was Mimi for Josh at the end of the day. Let's just put it that way. That's who it was for them two. Yeah. Jessie was just the wing person. Jessie was just the odd person out that went along for the ride, to be honest with you, because they weren't speaking to her much. They weren't looking at her much, even though they said that she was pretty and yada yada yada. No, the way that Josh was looking at Mimi, like not stopping his eye contact for Mimi, was like, I want to rip your clothes off and I want to eat you right now. That's how it came across. And I was like, okay, my guy. Okay, and Reuben was doing the same thing with Uma, but Uma's very much settled with Will. But the problem with Uma is the fact that she thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to put Will on standby. Do you know what I mean? To put Will on notice, to basically say, now here's someone coming in that is actually interested in me. Get your grafting boots on. That's what she was saying, but she played her hand too hard and too well in terms of what happened next. Let's just put it that way. So, you see, now, coincidentally, yeah, Emma and Grace decide they don't want to be with their people no more. Coincidentally, you know, two new bombshells coming in, and now we have Emma and Grace wanting to get rid of Connor and Blade, saying that the chemistry is not there, saying that they will both go and have those conversations with Connor and Blade, to which they did. All I'm gonna say is absolute bullshit, both of them. They're sneaky. They're very, very sneaky, as Grace and Emma. They know each other and they're probably from the same place, but both of them, I'm sorry, they came off as hella sneaky to me, and it was no coincidence that they did that at that point, that exact time. Both of them rendering themselves both single, not in a couple. Yeah, they're in a friendship couple now because 2 new bombshells are coming in. But those 2 new bombshells really wanted Mimi and Uma. Mimi is the one that actually needed this. After the bullshit that she went through with Ayo, Mimi is the one that needed this. These 2 just needed to leave Josh alone. But I tell you, one person that wouldn't leave Josh alone, and we will get there. So, The date time happens. Reuben speaks a little bit of Spanish. At least he didn't mess it up like Joey did when Joey went on that date with Sam, because that was just ridiculously bad. And Josh is Nigerian. His parents are Yoruba. He says he understands his mother tongue but don't speak it. And Uma makes me laugh because each time, like, she did the same thing with Ayo, talks about how her dad is from Yoruba. My gal don't understand it nor speak it, so that's a moot point at the end of the day. But I do think it's good to learn your heritage and your culture, and Uma should learn that at the end of the day. So you see, back in the villa, Jessica is all over Ayo, and I always say wherever you find Ayo, you'll find Jessica at the end of the day. Right now they're kind of inseparable. So Ayo has the cheek to ask Jessica if she'll be getting to know the two bombshells when they're coming. So Jessica's basically saying to him that what she thinks they have is good. It will take a lot for her head to turn, basically. So basically she's trying to tell Ayo there's nothing to worry about at this moment in time. But she says she would never move disrespectful in anything. So I'm like, oh, so this is the first time Ayo's feeling a little bit insecure, or is it because Mimi is going to get hers at last with someone that is not him? I see you, Ayo. I see through the little games that you be playing up in here. And all I hope is you don't hurt Jessica the way that you hurt Mimi, because Jessica, my girl, does not deserve that, because Jessica's a nice little human being. So Jessica's words that she says next sound so familiar. She basically says, I would not be giving people the same energy of how I was when I first met you. So, in a roundabout way, Jessica is saying, although it would take someone to twist my head, it's not going to be impossible, because best believe any new bombshells do come in and I feel the urge to want to get to know them, I will do. That's what Jessica's saying. For Will, it's karma. And Ayo is basically saying that he feels some kind of way in Mimi walking in with someone else. So, okay, Jessica did call that one. But I do like the fact that Jessica does not mince her words when it comes to Ayo. Like, from what I've seen thus far, she don't let him get away with shit. So we go back to the date and they're having fun. They're having fun. Reuben definitely wants Mimi, Uma, and Josh definitely wants Mimi. Josh said basically what Mimi brings what he is looking for, because basically Josh and Reuben have been watching the show itself. Both of them are disgusted about how Uma and Mimi have been treated by Ayo and by Will, basically, and feels that they're a far better match for them. And as men, they will know how to treat their women and act accordingly in that situation. I was like, okay, this is what we needed. Something fresh. This is what we needed, because I'm sick of seeing boys running around here with their pants down thinking they're the big I am. Let's just put it that way. So I just hope they just don't turn out to be dicks. So now we go back to the villa, and Emma and Grace decide to tag team Blade and Connor, basically. Their behaviour is just so transparent. Like, it really is. It's just so transparent, and it's kind of selfish behaviour for me, to be honest with you. Because two new bombshells are coming in. They decide to make themselves strategically available, yeah? And also the fact is, we know Grace likes her black men. I think, considering from what I've seen so far, this girl has proper Mandingo fever going on. Like, seriously, proper Mandingo fever going on. And I just don't like the way that Grace can move when it comes to guys, especially with guys that other people are interested in, or they're interested in them. Yeah, I don't like how she moves in the slightest. Like, the one person that needed this was Mimi. Now, Grace is very much aware that Josh is very much interested in Mimi. I will get to it. It may be in this episode, it may be in the next episode. Why I don't trust this gal. I mean, I trust her in the slightest. So They both have their conversations with them, let them down. Connor and Blade took it really well, but again, I think it's just a full-on cop-out for both of them. Emma's wasted Connor's time, and Grace wasted Blade's time at the end of the day, because I do believe that Grace brought Blade in the hopes that it will piss Joey off, but it had the exact opposite and didn't go the way that she wanted it to go. I don't really think she had that much of a with Blade than she may have had with Messiah at the end of the day. But again, it's about the aesthetics of it all. You see the lads walk in, and basically they were like bringing the energy. Both Reuben and Josh were bringing the energy, letting the guys know exactly where it is that they stand. Josh letting the guys know that his interest and his type is Mimi at the end of the day. And Reuben basically letting Will know and putting everybody on standby that his interest and his type is Uma. So these guys did not come into play. And then when the guys went over to introduce themselves to the girls, yeah, you could see that Grace was gunning for Josh at that moment in time. So Mimi basically explained to the girls, so you know that Grace heard this conversation, explaining to the girls that Josh is her type, like fully her type. But the first words that Uma said when she sat down with the girls was revenge is sweet. I said, be careful with that, because revenge has a tendency to backfire on your ass. Yeah, when you're wanting a desired effect over choosing what behaviors you're going to do to get somebody else to move in a certain way, doesn't normally work out for you. And Uma realizes this when it comes back to bite her in the arse, let me just put it that way. So Josh was not playing, as I said, when it came to Mimi. He says Mimi is his type. It weren't a nice situation that she had been in, but he loves the way that he carries herself, basically. So as I said, it's all to play for right now. So Reuben did say to the girls, and there is no men in here, just a lot of boys at the end of the day. And I thought, these men did not come to ramp. Will looked hella worried, and Ayo, don't get me started on how he looked. Anyway, that is where this episode ended. I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode. All I ask is you please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, so when you know I'm on and doing videos, please comment, like, do share, do all those good things that you do, because I am on the road to 1k. And I'll be back on your screens very, very soon. Peace out.